Hi. So I'm in my bedroom on my bed because I don't normally want to keep talking to the camera without any makeup on and looking just so crap. But I'm so tired. Got back from taking my car to the garage in a town that's like 15-minute drive from here, and I had to get the train back and it's like 30 degrees heat and walk back from the station. I'm absolutely knackered, but that's not the reason I'm absolutely knackered. So, as you may have seen from the title, oh, fucking shit kicked off today. And not the last video, but the one before this, I spoke to the camera and I was saying exactly what I was thinking about my ex and why I couldn't have any more give any more to Christian at the moment because my ex was still inside my heart. Well, today I can honestly, even though it was painful to have to listen to him on the phone, and it was awful, and I was in the gym at the time, so I had to leave. It's embarrassing. Even though that happened in bad circumstances and I didn't want to have to speak to him or listen to him and have him shouting at me, I can say now it's no longer in there. I feel that that moment I spoke to him on the phone, I could feel him literally leaving. And I don't know if it's because I spoke out loud about my feelings to you 2 days ago, and did it was it because I put it out there in the universe that some good karma came to me and took him out? I don't know, but anyway. I'll tell you what happened. So I don't know if I told you. I think I told you, yeah, that I was helping his son because his son is a little bit of a mess at the moment. Well, it's not that he's a mess, but he doesn't really have his parents don't really they're not really there for him, and I don't know about his wife. He tells me this, and my ex told me about his ex-wife being a bit of a narcissist. Anyway, for me, they're both narcissists, and they're not really there for him. They don't listen to him. They don't. I don't think they give him what he really needs. His dad did give him money, but it's not really what he needs. He needs help. He needs a lot of help, and I tried to do that for him. So he's quite close to me, and he speaks to me often. Anyway, we've been talking backwards and forwards about him coming to this area to getting a job to work here, and whilst we've been talking, of course, from time to time, I talk about Francis, but not in a bad way. I talk about him, he talks about him. And today, he told me that he's with his ex girlfriend. I knew he left me for somebody, but I wasn't exactly 100% sure who it was. Anyway, it turns out it was the girl that he was with before he was with me. And that's fine. I don't. It doesn't make any difference to me. I don't really care who he's with. Could be with anybody, and I'm happy that he's happy with the person that he's with. But this particular person was, and it wasn't her fault, but she was the cause of a whole lot of problems for us. And of course, it was his fault because I know from time to time I'm going to talk about things that you're not even going to believe that people can say to each other. But we went through a phase where, for me anyway, sex was a bit boring, and it's not that it was boring. I wanted excitement. It was just we didn't really share it. It was more, like he would go and watch TV from like 7:30 in the evening until 1 o'clock in the morning. Then he'd come into the bedroom where I'd be either reading or asleep or watching something. And you know what I mean, don't you? You kind of lost the will after that for sex. It's not like, oh yeah, come on, let's go and have sex, especially after like 3 years together. So it was like in the dark. He'd come in the bedroom. Sometimes I'd be asleep, so it was in the dark. Get into bed. Boom, boom, boom. These 10 minutes. And honestly, it was boring. It was so boring. So I never said it was boring. I never told him anything. But I said, do you think, like tomorrow, maybe we could have sex in the daytime or outside or somewhere, just somewhere different, or even in the evening, but not after the TV, maybe before the TV, and make it a little bit more, not longer for the sake of making it longer, but something that we can share instead of just one bam, thank you, ma'am. I know women understand me completely. Anyway, because I said that, and he's very, he took it really personally, and he said, so he obviously got his own bag, like as we progressed, and he said to me that sex with me was really boring, and that when he was with his ex girlfriend, she was the queen of sex, and I can't believe somebody can actually say that to your face. And we already had problems sexually a little bit, not problems, but it wasn't it wasn't so great because we didn't make time for it. I think you have to make time for it, and it's part of your being together. It's part of your life. It's like it's just like other things that you give time to. It's not just a last thought at the end of the day, like brushing your teeth. But anyway, so he talked about her like that, and then like she cropped up all the time in conversation, and he said, yeah, he's always thinking about her, and yeah, it was great with her and everything, and oh, he's been dreaming about her and everything. But I never really believed him because he did say, oh yeah, I said that to you because we were arguing, and you said bad things to me, so I just got my own back. So I thought, fair enough. He doesn't mean it, because he actually told me when we got together that, oh, she was awful. She never even like sometimes he'd say, oh yeah, that my second ex-wife, and she was good, she did that, and blah blah blah, but he never said anything good about this ex-girlfriend. So sorry, I changed my position because I got a bit of cramp, and also I couldn't remember what I was saying, what I was talking about at the beginning. So yeah, so he only had bad things, not really bad things to say about this girl, but he was saying, it wasn't great, and he didn't have a lot to say about her, to be honest. But anyway, now maybe he didn't have a lot to say about her because he actually was still in love with her. I don't know, but I think now what he's done to me, leaving me to go back to her, I think maybe he did the same to me at the beginning, and he was with her because he was only with her just before he was with me. So he was with her and maybe got a bit bored or whatever, I don't know. And then, oh yeah, because he said she was a bit selfish and she never came to his house, unlike me who moved in. And so maybe he got pissed off with that and left her for me. And and anyway, now he's gone back to her. So good. But so so the reason I'm telling you this is because 2 videos ago, yeah, I did say, he's in here and I can't advance with Christian. Well, now I can because he's gone. Just that, and it wasn't, anyway, I haven't really explained it very well because the reason he called me, I'll explain the whole thing. So as I was at my house, I was talking to his son, and like I said, we were talking about Francis for not a lot. Maybe we spoke for like an hour and a half, and I think maybe for less than 10 minutes we spoke about Francis. And Francis said, and his son Nicola said, you know what? About 2 weeks ago or 2 weekends ago, I saw my dad's car. He lives in Cap Breton, which is a lovely tourist village on the Atlantic. He said, I saw my dad's car, and so I knew he was there in Cap Breton for the weekend, but he didn't come and see me, didn't even call me. And I said, well, why do you think that was? And then he said, oh, because he's with his girlfriend and she doesn't like me. So I said, oh, so he's with a girl that you know? And he said, yeah. And I thought, well, process of elimination, it's got to be the hairdresser who he was with before me. So I said, oh, so you mean the hairdresser? And he said, yeah. So And also, I knew that she didn't like Nico as well. Anyway, so he told me that. I never said anything, and but he told his dad. So after he spoke to me, and I always tell him, don't speak to me about it. Don't speak to your father about me. I don't want your father to know anything about me, about my life, about anything. And I never ever asked questions about him either, except to talk about things that Nicola wanted to talk about. So after that conversation, I drove to the town where I had to take my car in today. But before I had the meeting, the appointment, can't even think of English words anymore. It's so awful. Before I had the appointment, I had like an hour to kill. So I thought, oh, I'll go to the gym because it's only across the road. And I didn't have any gym stuff on. I just thought, I'll go in there and I'll have 2 massages. So got in there, just sat down on the massage machine, and his son texted me and said, I just spoke to my dad. My dad called me just after I put the phone down from you. And he said, and I told him, no, that's right. What was he saying? Yeah. And I said, oh, that's nice. So hopefully you'll meet up then, because he was a bit sad that his dad hadn't seen him the weekend he went to Cap Breton with his girlfriend. And he hadn't spoken to his son. He hadn't even said to his son that he was there because his girlfriend doesn't like his son. So how awful is that he would just ignore his son? Anyway, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just too soft. So I hope you're following this. I'm so tired. So just it was only like 2 short texts, one from him, one to me, one from him, and one from me. And then just before I was going to stop talking to his son, I thought, I don't know why, it just came into my head. I said, you didn't talk about me, did you? And he said, oh, all I said was that you didn't think that his relationship with the hairdresser will last. And I said, what on earth? Why on earth would you tell your dad something like that, which I never said, and even though I told you not to even to speak about me in general? So it's the worst thing that he could have said to his dad. And honestly, his dad is so angry as well, always. So I knew what was coming. I knew this was gonna like be the beginning of a big heated argument, or I knew something was going to happen. So, and then I said to him, and what did he say? And he said, oh, she'll make a really good detective. So I had to text him because I thought, okay, so he thinks that I'm stalking him or something. And I thought, he's just so awful. This man is so absolutely awful. So I texted him. I had blocked him on my phone. So I unblocked him, sent him a text, and I said, I know, and I was really nice, and I said, hi, I hope you're all right. I said, I know you've just spoken to your son, and I said, and I hope you're not going to be angry with me, because it's actually not at all the truth what he's told you. And I said, he told me what he said, and I was really angry at him because I said to him, don't speak about me. And the thing that he told you that I said, I never said. Okay? I never said. And in fact, what I did say to him was, oh, when he said he was with the hairdresser, I said, in fact, the opposite. I said, oh, that's really nice. That would be great for Francis because I know he loves her. So, like, okay, it's true what I said. I'm sure he always had love for her, but it kind of said things without having to say it, if you know what I mean. And so I just finished the text, and lo and behold, the phone rang, and it was him. He's called Francis, my ex-boyfriend. It was Francis. And honestly, I didn't want to answer it. I was so scared because he is so nasty. He really is. He shouts and he's so angry. He's like really a Mr. Angry. But I thought I'll have to listen to what he's got to say. So I answered the phone. I said, just a minute, I'm just in the gym, so I'm going to have to go and find a quiet corner, because once you go out, you can't get back in. So I went into the toilets, and I was sitting in the corner of the toilets, with a phone like this, and he was shouting, shouting, shouting. Why did you tell la 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 la? And I said, I had to wait for him to stop, and then I said, just before you get really angry, I was going to tell you exactly what I said. And I said, and if you don't believe me, because afterwards, you know, um, Nicola and I spoke by text, and he said, "Yeah, I'm really sorry. Oh, yeah, I know you didn't say that. Oh, yeah, yeah, I shouldn't have said that. And yeah, you did say that you wanted the best for him and everything." So I said, "If you don't believe me, ask him to show you the texts." And I said, "I can show you them, but obviously I'm not going to see you." So, and he said to me, because he honestly, I don't even know why he called me, because even if I did say that, who cares? Who who cares? Why would he care? I don't even know. So anyway, well, just because I wanted to stick up for myself and be honest with him, I told him the truth. And then he said, "You have to be careful about Nico." So talking about his son now, you have to be careful because he does lie. He lies and he likes to stir things. And I thought, yeah, I think you're right. He probably does. He does. And he said, just be careful what you tell him and what you do with him. And I said, well, literally, I was just trying to help him because, I didn't tell him why or whatever, because he would have got annoyed at that as well. So I just said, I was just trying to help him. And I said, but maybe it's better that I just, don't speak to him anymore. And he said, yeah, it's up to you. And so that was that. That was that. And oh god, I was absolutely. It's awful. It's awful. Do you know what? I haven't been around him for 3 months or had any contact with him, and it was like I was back in there in that awful environment where you're scared to say anything. You're scared, just scared, because you know that you don't know, is he going to be happy, is he going to shout at you, you just don't know. And so anyway, as I said, as we were having that conversation, and it was more like him telling me off conversation, he just literally went out of my heart. And I went back and sat on the massage machine after that, but it's going to be a pun, but my heart wasn't in it. So, so it kind of ruined that for me. So I got up, went out, and I went and sat in the car because I had like 20 minutes to kill. So I just sat in the car and messaged his son and said, "You know what you've done? You've really created a shitstorm now." And I said, like, 3 months has passed. It was really difficult to separate after 5 years. I tried to really make the best of it and to try and keep us not enemies and just, there for each other. He didn't want that. He was still angry with me. So it was even harder for me. And so 3 months down the line, I said, we don't really need this. I don't even want to speak to him. I don't want to have him on my phone shouting at me. I don't want that anymore. I've got a new life now. I don't want that. And I said, and this is what you've done. And he was all apologetic and saying, yeah, I know, I know what I've done and everything. And I said, well, I need to know that I can trust you. And I don't think I can at the moment, but unless I know I can trust you, I can't help you anymore. And anyway, he was like, I think he said that his dad phoned him as well after his dad phoned me. So God knows what went on there either. I just don't know. But as I've been speaking to you, no, that's not it. Let me just back up a bit. Yeah. So just as I was coming out of the gym, his father, my ex, Francis, sent me a text saying, he knew that I was having my house painted, the front of my house painted. And the reason he knows that is because I asked his friend who knows a painter that was going to come and do it anyway. And I just said, can you ask him, can you send me his phone number? Because I haven't got his phone number. So I went through his friend. And so his friend never got back to me, never answered me, because obviously Francis told him not to speak to me. And now he said, when Bilal comes to do your painting, do you think you can give him the ladder, which is mine, which is in your attic? And I said, well, because he didn't answer me, he doesn't speak to me anymore, I found someone else now, so unfortunately not. And And I said, if you want to come and pick it up anytime, you're welcome, but I'm going to be away for a couple of months from, and I just gave him the dates. So he said, I can't remember, something and nothing, like, oh, we'll see, or something like that. And at that moment, I think I was going to block him, but I think I got a text from his son. Yeah, that's right. I got a text from his son for about an hour apologizing again. So I forgot to block him. And then, just as I've been on the phone to you now, he sent me a text and I haven't read it, but I can see, you know, when you can see like the first line or two without having to open it. So I've seen what the beginning is, and it's very nasty. And it's typically him. He doesn't say anything nice at the beginning, you know, it's just awful. And he said, um, how did he say it? I know what you'll be thinking. That when I, and then, so, okay, so I know what he's going to say. He's going to say, when I left you, it wasn't to go with her. It wasn't, I didn't leave you for her. He's going to say, I met her just coincidentally in the street 3 days later. That's what he was going to say. And honestly, I don't want to listen to any more lies. I don't even want to know what he's got to say. So when I saw that come through, when I was just speaking to you before, I just cut it and I've blocked him again, because I just don't want that man in my life. I don't want to listen to his lies. I don't want to remember him. And I completely changed my opinion of him now. So for me, his name's Mud. I don't hate him, but I literally am at the, and it's literally 3 months almost to the date, and I mean exactly, I've got indifference, which is what I wanted when I first separated, and I was asking ChatGPT how to get indifference. And as I told you in a previous video, that I asked ChatGPT to ask me some questions to see if I was over him and that if I had indifference. And it told me a lot of good things, that I'd advanced and, you know, I was doing really well. And, you know, I was already not thinking ever about going back to him or contacting him. But it said, you're not at that stage yet. You haven't got indifference. But tomorrow I am going to ask ChatGPT to ask me some questions. And I'm 100% sure it's going to say, you've got indifference now. You're indifferent. And so after just an awful afternoon with this frigging family, I don't really want anything to do with his son anymore. And I just want to be far away from there. And you know what? I'm really happy that I got away, because I would have stayed there for the rest of my frigging life. I would have stayed there and I would have been miserable. And today I've got Christian to look forward to, and I'm really looking forward to getting to know him and being able to offer him a bit more of me. And he sent me a message. He sent me lots of messages today. He's so nice. And in amongst all that shit that was going on from this family, all these awful messages and this awful afternoon that I spent, he sent me the one really just beautiful message that just melted my heart. And such a nice man, such a really nice man. So I'm lucky. I got out. It took me 3 months. I'm over him. And watch his space. Love to you all.